to my new cup today.
Where'd you find that one?
In the drawer. I really like it.
Looks like real clay.
It feels really good.
Yeah?
I'm very particular about my cup. I want to get...
My cup feels pretty good too.
I already drank my coffee, so this is tea now.
Feels like all natural paper. Good day!
Hey, hi guys! Welcome to another episode. Oh, we forgot to check if this is episode...
I'm pretty sure it's 24.
Alright, I think it's 25. If he thinks it's 25.
So we can do a premature celebration, and maybe it's the rest. Hey, we made it to 25, maybe next time.
We'll do it 2 times in a row.
Exactly. Every day is a
episodes.
celebration.
Yeah. And hi everybody, welcome. It is a beautiful day here in Portland. You can see it's so sunny and spring has sprung.
Spring has sprung. It's pretty springy out there.
It's pretty springy and just
blue skies, everybody.
Excited. I feel so good today.
Yeah, we got another episode of Everything
and Nothing
with SumOne and
Anezka.
Yep.
Hey guys.
Good to be here.
Yep.
Right off the bat, I'm going to say, hey, our computer battery's running a little low, so
Uh-oh.
let me run and fix that real quick.
Yep.
All right. Practicing more patience.
Practicing patience today.
Yep.
We're finally working out the kinks. There's a lot of kinks this morning.
It's a kinky life.
It's a kinky life.
All right, well, we did the introductions. Nothing to see here, folks. Everything continues as it was supposed to.
Hello.
It all goes according to plan.
Yeah. I hope you're all doing well out there in these wild times. Anyway, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your connecting into our connection.
Yep, that's true. Well, guess who goes first today?
I remember. It's me.
It is you.
It is me. I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, I usually have a topic, I've said this before, like 2 weeks, like right away. Didn't have it.
You were just grasping for it.
I don't know. Sometimes it takes time for, I don't know. So this morning, it kind of came up, and I really want to talk about ghosts and aliens, and I want to talk about the unseen things. I want to talk about the unseen world, because I was thinking this morning, like, what is it that is so taboo in our human species that we are afraid to admit that there are things other than what we can see and feel and taste and smell? You know, what is that? Because it's a very rich world. You know, there's so much more than just our human, mental, physical form. And this is the world that I walk in. I walk a lot in the unseen world, and so how can we connect to it more? Like, what is it? Like, why are we so afraid to admit that there's other things out there?
You're a spirit walker.
I am a spirit walker.
I think the answer is pretty simple. I think on a primal level, the one thing that we fear the most is the unknown. And so going beyond the physical world that we can touch and probe and test and understand, we enter a realm of the unknown. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not so much the ghost that we fear or the demon that we fear, but it's like the idea that there's something that we don't understand, with motives that we don't understand, lurking just out of reach, a presence there that we don't know, which is potentially prowling, potentially hunting, potentially trying to influence us in some way. I think it's the unknown that is the driving force of that fear for most people.
Well, and then that makes me, this is not where I was going to take this conversation, but then that ties into, you know, for me, the fear of the unknown, also in the world of having an open mind that could sit with someone who believes very differently than you and not lose yourself and be afraid that it's going to annihilate you, or that somehow somebody's other opinion of God is going to take something away from you, or, you know, it's interesting. I wonder how that ties into that piece of feeling comfortable with all things unknown, not just the unseen, because when I go to meet a new person, and because I go to a party or something and it's somebody who I've never, you know, like I can tell, you know, like we start talking and we have differences of beliefs about God and maybe a little political difference as well. Then there used to be this feeling of like, oh my gosh, we don't get each other, and oh, we don't know each other, and I got to go find somebody who understands me. And now it's like I'm not afraid of that unknown. now I'm kind of like, my mind has been able to open up like a parachute, and I'm able to be like, well, tell me more about that.
Yeah, but talking to some person at a party, they're human with the same human emotions and fears. And even though we don't know the person, we still understand their motives. We understand potentially they have insecurities. They might have different political or dogmatic beliefs, which, make a conversation difficult. But we've been to those difficulties. We understand what a difficult conversation is. That's not something under your bed that is going to come get you,
Well,
which once you go beyond the pale, once you go beyond the veil into the unknown, ghosts, goblins, gremlins, and all such things, we're now in a world which we do not know the rules. We are now subjected to forces where we don't know the consequences of the game, right? And so, especially, because the idea of the paranormal that we've grown up with, through cultural movies and TV shows and what have you, it's all this spooky stuff, right?
It's gonna
it's
get
all
you, it's
the
gonna
possessions,
hurt you,
it's the paranormal where the ghosts are coming maliciously to eat you or something. And it's kind of like the beast in the darkness, the wolves out in the darkness. We can't see them, but they're there prowling. And so we think of it as like a predator. The person at the party with different beliefs, they're not going to eat me.
They might.
Yeah.
Double advocate. I mean, a lot of
they
people
haven't yet.
No, okay, and I agree. There's a very big difference between a human at a party and what I'm bringing into the conversation right now. But I will say that I think that a lot of people are deathly afraid of having a conversation with someone who is different from them. And it does feel like, it will pull apart their universe if they listen to someone else, But anyway, I don't want to get off on that rabbit.
Where do you want to go with it?
I want to go with it. So let's go back to the unseen world, because that is, I'm going to be completely transparent. This is a world that I've been walking in, and you've heard me say it before. And it started when I was little. I started to I think I've always had this ability. I'm very sensitive. I could see things. I could hear things. I didn't always understand what was happening, but I had a big fear for even now a little bit, just saying it here on this podcast, of letting people know how deeply entrenched in that world I am, how I, there was one part of my career where I think I could have absolutely been a medium. There were ghosts showing up at my house, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to go down that road. I don't want to become a medium. I don't want to be a psychic. That's not my gig. But, and people are like, oh, well, I can't do that. And I disagree. Everyone can do this. Of course, I have special gifts, but it's just practice, right? So, what has been your experience, and how can that, how can we open up to that and be less afraid, and why is it happening? What are we supposed to be learning from this otherworldly stuff?
Well, it is a practice, but it's also a sense. It's like sight or hearing or something along those lines. You kind of have to be attuned to it to some degree in order to perceive it. I think a lot of people probably go through their entire life without experiencing anything or without realizing that they've experienced something. Because we have this very logical part of our brain, which even if something deviates from the norm and maybe it's paranormal, we rationalize it as, oh yeah, just, a squirrel in the attic or something. And probably in a lot of cases it is. Probably a lot of times, people go the other way and they think it's a ghost when really it's just bad plumbing in their house.
Yes, for
so
sure.
You probably get both ways on this. It does take some attunement. It does take some practice. It also, there's a couple factors. I think, first of all, I think you have to be aware that it's there and actively looking for it to some degree. Otherwise, I think it's less likely to show up in your life. Another major factor that I've realized is that people in the cities, when there's a bunch of humans collectively living in one space, it seems to not really be as present. And this is obviously not always the case, because you've had plenty of experiences in the city. Yeah. But when I talk to family and relatives and people that grew up out in the boonies, out on the farm, almost everybody has multiple stories of unexplainable phenomenon that have occurred repeatedly, and it's just part of the rural life.
Yes.
Almost ubiquitously. as we're in the city, most of the friends that I had growing up, going to high school with, who were born in Portland and grew up in Portland and we went to high school together, something about being in a city environment, whether it's just maybe just all of these human consciousness believing that doesn't exist altogether, helps buffer it away. Maybe there's some other things, like maybe radio frequencies help obscure it, but something, maybe it's like light pollution, maybe there's something actually to be said with the darkness and allowing those things to like come closer to us. I don't know what the mechanism is, but I clearly see a distinction between people that live in close proximity to a bunch of other people, and then people out on the outskirts living in a forest or living on a farm with only like 2 neighbors within a mile radius of them. It seems to show up a lot more there.
Yeah, or if you're alone, you know, because
even my personal experiences, they've all happened when I am outside, you know, outside of the protective insulation of what the city is.
Well, I've seen people in the city who've had these experiences, but a common thread though is that typically there's no one else around. You know,
so they are isolated at the moment, at least.
Or very rare. Like I was doing this one clearing. These people, they were in a situation where they couldn't get out of this house. They were like, we don't know what to do because this ghost was interfering with their children. They weren't sleeping well. They were all sleeping in the same room. Like things were breaking all the time, and the wife believed and the husband didn't believe. And we were talking about it. I could feel the spirit. It was a male. It was an older man. As soon as I came in the house, I could feel it. And as we were talking, there was like 4 of us that were sitting in the living room together, and he gets up and walks towards the kitchen. We're all sitting there, and suddenly we all heard and saw this glass just like flies off the counter, off the shelf, and just shatters on the floor in front of him. And so we all saw that. But I think that's rare, you know, and I believe that happened in that instance because we all were talking about it as a real thing, that it was really here, it was really happening, we were aware. This isn't something that we're like, oh, is there a ghost or isn't there? And I think that had something to do with it.
Yeah.
And it knew, because I'd already been communicating with this spirit that, okay, we're going to be helping you move somewhere else because this isn't working anymore. And so I think the reason I wanted to bring this conversation up today is because I'm hoping that whoever is listening out there, that we can stop wanting to hide this fact that we have these experiences, or we feel these things, or we've seen things. I mean, I've had experiences with aliens. I've actually seen aliens. And there's still this fear, like, oh my God, if people know, oh, she's crazy, or she's making shit up, and all this stuff. And it's like, I really feel like there is more of a collective consciousness that we're moving into places where we don't have to keep perpetuating that, you know, myth that, oh, we're all just making this stuff up.
Well, as a skeptic and as somebody with a scientific background, I still scrutinize and still doubt a lot of these stories. Even when you tell me, I'm like, maybe not, I don't know. And this is coming from a guy also who has experienced just paranormal that is inexplicable. I will also say that, yeah, it does typically happen, in my experience, when you're alone.
Yes.
And in those cases, it's a lot easier to be like, oh, maybe I missaw, maybe I was dreaming, maybe I wasn't really clearly present about what was going on. But there was, my biggest phenomenon that I experienced was with one other person. And having it be with somebody else who can validate the same things that you have seen really helps to clarify it. Really helps to be like, okay, so I am crazy, but at least in this case, I was not out of my mind, you know. I was not dreaming, I was there, this did happen. I think another reason people fear it, which maybe this is what you're getting at with your example of the person at the party, is that we are raised to understand and believe that I will, you know, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. And that basically is saying, like, I'll believe it when I can physically put my hands on it, touch it, understand it, put my eyes on it, and like draw a picture of what it is and how it fits into my reality. And so the whole thing that we believe is what we see, which is the physical world, what's in front of our eyes. So we build a whole idea of how the universe works, and how we fit into this universe based on our tangible physical experience. So then when somebody comes along and says, oh, but there's this other like huge part of the universe that you haven't considered, it jeopardizes our belief structure.
Yeah.
It jeopardizes how we have spent our entire life deciding to understand the world. And like with somebody bringing a conflicting religious idea in a religious debate, this is bringing in a contradicting like worldview into the whole like physical realm of understanding. And it threatens your idea or somebody's idea of how the world works. And that is terrifying.
It is terrifying, and I think that we're evolving and growing up to a point though where we can actually start opening our minds and our heart and our psyches up to these other realms. And that's what I wanted to kind of do with this conversation, is that, you know, I'm constantly, you know, getting information and connecting to other energies out there and downloading like very coherent messages and writings and information that then I use in a meditation, or I'm going to be offering a course May 5th. It's going to be, and it's some of that information that I downloaded it about, you know, becoming more of a whole human being. And so I want to like invite all of us, because also as a scientist, there is more and more information though that is validating these unseen things. Like I've talked about it before. There are microscopes, right, that can actually look at matter and it's alive. Or there are ways of photographing plants and you can see the auric field around it. There's a Dr. Emoto from Japan who was studying water, and the vibration of sound and energy on this water actually changed the molecule structure of the water. So I feel like there's more and more scientific proof now also that is validating these unseen things. And who could we become as human beings if we weren't just limited to, you know, this is all there is? Like, what if there was other life? What if there was other realms where possibilities and ghosts and energies and all of these things, like what could happen? Like maybe our world could heal and become more unified rather than stuck in this, let's fight. I want this, I'm going to take it. I want it, I'm going to take it back. You know, like where I feel like we're being reflected in the world right now with all the war and everything. It's like, it's gone back to that very primal, like, I want this, so I'm going to take it. But if we start going beyond those constructs and start thinking beyond this dual world, like maybe we can evolve to more peaceful places.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Or maybe we could all just hide under our blankets together and be scared of the boogeyman and the ghost in the closet.
Well, I mean, I'm curious, like, I'd like to share a story, but I'd like to hear, do you have a story or an experience of something that you've experienced that's otherworldly?
I mean, I think I've shared that experience already. And like I said, I have multiple stories. Most of them happened solo as a child, so I'm like, was I dreaming? I don't know. You know, wake up, see a weird orb floating in the middle of the room, go back to sleep. It's like, did that happen? Was that part of a dream? I don't really know. It seemed pretty damn real.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was one time in Alaska, my third time up there. I was up there with an ex-girlfriend, and we were living out in the forest in basically a makeshift A-frame cabin that I'd built a year or two before, and just kind of left up there. It was out on railroad land. It was like a 15-20 minute hike outside of the town of Skagway, which is like a small little tourist destination where a bunch of cruise ships come through. So big tourism. I was up there doing tourist related stuff. I think I was doing like gold panning, tour guiding at the time.
Yeah, you were. Mm-hmm.
And so basically me and my girlfriend at the time were living in this little cabin. I say loosely because it was basically just like a basket that we, kept bears out basically. We had a tent in it to keep the mosquitoes off. And I had a little table set up made out of rocks and a couple little rock chairs, and we'd make our dinner around this. So every day after work, I'd finish up as a gold panning tour guide, and she'd finish up working at the restaurant she was working at, and we'd, spend 15 minutes hiking up a hill, out into the forest, out into the dark. And the sun's going down like every other day, and we get to our little table and get our camp stove out and start making our, nutritious, delicious ramen that we made every night because we were poor. And, we're just the sun's going down, and we have one of the most important things, our headlamps. We always have headlamps on up there. It's great when you're living in the woods. And we're talking about something about the day, I don't remember. But she's telling me a story about how her day went. And mid-conversation, I just see her her head bobs back, and then she just has this like look of like confusion.
Whoa.
And I see she's confused, and I start to ask, what's going on? Why are you?
Yeah.
Before I can finish, something just pushes me right on the headlamp and just gives me a shove. And it didn't feel malicious, and there was nothing there. It just felt like a 6 or 7-year-old shoving me in the head. Like it wasn't super strong, but it was a force, and there was nothing there, so it was invisible. And I just sat there. We sat there both kind of dumbfounded with our little pot of ramen boiling. And, at that point I stopped asking the question of what was wrong because
you knew.
I knew what was wrong, something that was intangible. And I was like, fuck this, let's just go to bed. So
I don't understand
like
what's
I
happening,
said,
so
like we both got in the tent, we got into our sleeping bags, and we're like, all right, it can't get us here. We're protected. And, slept the night away. So, yeah, obviously there's more behind the veil. There's more going on than meets the eye. Mm-hmm. What is it exactly? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Another question is so you say you have these downloads. Mm-hmm. It's like I wonder sometimes, what is consciousness and where do ideas actually come from? Mm-hmm. Because the current model is that it's just like an electronic soup of neurons firing, randomly connecting ideas that give you ideas. And there's probably a good amount of truth to that. Mm-hmm. But there's also, we're energetic beings. We're part of an energy field.
Yes.
And every thought that we think effectively is radiating out into the universe. Mm-hmm. We're almost like an antenna.
Yeah.
And our thoughts are radiated out and other thoughts are radiated in. That's how we sense things beyond this realm a little bit.
Yeah.
And so with Belchel, for example, I don't really feel like I invented that. I feel like I was just working, and then one day an idea of how to improve my working day was just kind of beamed into my brain, just appeared there. And I was like, oh, wow, where'd that come from? Mm. Now maybe it was just neurons firing, making random connections that gave me the idea. That's very possible. Mm-hmm. But it felt more like a gift. It felt more like something that the universe was like, hey, here you go, here's an idea. Take this and run with it. So I am.
Mm-hmm. And some people call that God, right? Or people believe in miracles or prayers being answered, and whatever you call it.
My definition of God is just everything above us that we don't understand.
Yeah.
Just God is a word used to describe the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And that's how I've come to understand God. Yeah. And putting it in that context, God's real. Yeah. And it's everywhere. Yeah. And we don't understand a lot of what's going on here. And
so with that, and that's what I, tap into this unseen world, is if God is so, magnanimous, and ominous and all of these things, then, then of course there's going to be so much in the unseen world, and for me it takes some of the fear out of it, but I just want to say also with that gift, of what you received and stuff, because I've heard people say, oh, that's just your brain, and this is, when I say I have transmissions that download and I get information and whatnot, and for me, a lot of times, sometimes it's got geometry and math equations. I'm sorry, I don't know that stuff. So sometimes the stuff that's being downloaded for me isn't in my repertoire. But regardless, when people say, oh, it's just your brain, you're just doing this, I'm like, and maybe they're right, but I don't really care, because if I believe and I get something good out of it and it helps me expand and become a better human being and evolve and get be a more positive part of this world and get more of what I want, I don't really care. I don't care. We can call it whatever. Also, so I don't fight against people who are skeptics and oh, that's just, I'm like, okay, well, maybe you're right. I don't know.
You might be right about being maybe tapping into these bigger things, God, or behind the
universe,
veil. Maybe it would help us achieve peace, just because living strictly in the physical realm, we get very tied to physical things, which I think is a big part of where the ideas of scarcity come from.
Yeah, and rigid.
Which leads to greed, which leads to a lot of these things, which keep us very self-centered, very me.
Yes.
And I think once you realize that there's a lot more going on than just my little life in this little house with my little collection of stuff, it's a lot easier to make peace with like having what you have and not having to go fight somebody at Walmart for, the last television set on Black Friday or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I just wanted to share a little story, before we go here. But for me, it's like, so I have so many ghost stories, and I might do an episode one time on my own where I just talk about ghost stories because they are interesting. The things, how I see things and perceive things. But for me, I want to talk about an alien experience I had. So I grew up in Belen, Oregon. Hello, everybody in the Klamath Basin. I was probably about 6 years old. And I remember it so clearly. It was such a profound experience. And I used to wake up in the middle of the night and go get scared, and so I'd get out of bed and I'd walk through the living room and through the kitchen and my brother's bedroom, and I'd go back into my mom and dad's bedroom and get in bed with my mom. And this one night I was doing my usual like walkabout in the dark, and I came to the kitchen and there was a light switch, and something loud in my voice in my head said stop. And I was like, as a little kid I was looking around, I'm like, who said that? And then I saw in the kitchen, there was this figure that was, so let's see, as a little kid, I was probably about like that high. So it was probably about maybe another foot or two higher than me. It wasn't huge, like it was maybe 4 feet tall or something, But anyway, I saw something and it was dark and it was kind of, I saw a image, but I couldn't quite figure out what. And I was really curious, and I was like gonna turn the light on because I was gonna see what it was, because I thought, well, maybe it's one of our animals, or I don't know. So anyway, I was going to reach for the light, even though it said stop, go, it was telling me go back. Right before I got to the light switch, it looked like it had kind of a leg, and it picked it up and it stomped it loud on the floor, and it scared me, and I was like, oh. So then I turned around and I ran back into my bedroom, and I went in a different direction to my mom. And the next morning we were at breakfast, and I was telling my mom about what I had saw, and she was like, oh, it was our dog. We had a German Shepherd named Malinka. And I was like, oh no, it wasn't anything, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, put that away because I didn't really have a context for what I had seen. And it was years later, my first husband was really into aliens, and he was introducing some of that, and I was really used to it, and showed me a picture of one of these gray beings, and it was exactly what I had seen. And I'd never seen a picture, so I didn't know how to connect it to that. But you can say I'm making it up and stuff. I know I'm not. But that was like one of my very first experiences. And I have since then also had quite a few extraterrestrial sightings and experiences. So I really, really believe in this and other life forms. And it feels like the more that I believe in it as well, the more that opens up. And I guess I really wanted to talk about this today because I'm really tired of feeling like I have to hide or keep this stuff quiet, or shh, somebody might know, or I'm kind of over it because I don't really care if people call me crazy or anything anymore, because I truly know that other things exist. I know it. And so, I don't know, maybe I also brought this up today because maybe just inviting other people, all of you, anyone out there, to just maybe open up your parachute a little bit more and see if there's something else out there besides what you know.
Yeah, I don't know how you look for it. You just kind of have to have an open mind, and maybe the universe decides to reveal itself. I've never actively found anything while looking for it. That being said, I do have friends and family with stories of deciding to look for it was the crux of being able to see these things.
Yeah.
So maybe do look for it, maybe don't, maybe just go on with your life, maybe hide under the blankets tonight.
Maybe just be open to the possibility. Maybe you don't have to do anything except being willing to be open.
Yeah.
That's always a good place to start.
It's just, there's something comforting in being able to say, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on in this world. It's a lot bigger, it's a lot more complex than my little human brain has been able to put together so far.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm able to just realize that I don't know, but I want to know, I'm able to see more, I'm able to glean more. And I think that's a good, it's served me well to stay curious and stay open-minded.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I'm excited because I feel like the more that I believe and the more that I'm willing, for me anyway, things are showing up in astronomical amounts. Like on a daily basis, something is transforming and showing me that there is way more to this world and the energy of God and how everything's connected and the miracles and the synchronicities and all of that. And it is like the best adventure. It's incredible. It really is incredible. So, I don't know. I think I'm good.
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Yep.
Anyway, we'll take a short break and we'll be back in a second.
Yeah, you thought I wouldn't have anything to say about this subject.
Surprise! Hi everybody, I'm Anezka and I am sponsoring this episode of Everything and Nothing from the House of Feng Shui, my new business. I'll be providing a series of Feng Shui podcasts called Got Shui. And on May 5th, I'm offering a first 3-part series called The Living Pattern. And in this, it's recalling and remembering through the holy pause, the first series, to living patterns, to embodying. And there are 3 kinds of feng shuis I've talked about before. The first one is the earth luck, where I will be dealing with space. But this first offering I'm going to be doing is about human luck. It's about the meditation. It's about the body. It's about remembering who we are without apology, without having to be enough. And so I hope you'll join me. There'll be more information to come later down the road, but until then, be well from the House of Feng Shui. I have to say I'm very picky about my cups. I like things that feel good. They're easy to hold. They're this nice weight.
Such a cup snob.
I am a cup snob.
Ooh.
Ha! Your drink's way up there. Is that because it's done?
No, it's because I'm getting in position. It's almost done. I got like 2 sips left.
That's enough.
Hopefully, we shall see. Because we got one more chapter to go. It's my turn.
Yeah.
And my topic is love.
What?
I know.
Ooh.
Love. It's positive, maybe. Let's take a look at it.
Do you love ghosts? Okay.
Depends on the ghost, I suppose.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, love's an interesting one to me. Really, I kind of brought it up because I realized I don't really know what it is. It's a big topic. It's a very used word. I think everybody drops the word fairly commonly. And I don't know how many of us actually understand what love is, myself included. So I wanted to explore for myself and for anybody here watching. We can maybe think about it and take a look at it.
Well, like all topics you bring to the table, I mean, there's many, many, many different kinds of love and applications and I feel like definitions. And again, I can't help but, because I'm a 63-year-old woman, that, you know, what I thought of as love in my, you know, youth to now has changed a million times over. And then there's so many applications, right? There's self-love, there's love of country, there's love of God, there's love of nature, there's in love, right? There's, you know, destructive love, you know, that's over passionate and gets obsessed, and, you know, so it's very interesting.
So there are a lot of different types of love, but like at its core, what's the thread that binds all of them together? what is love? It's a longing, it's a desire to be in a presence of another, whether that's God or nature or a friend or a family member or a lover. It's a desire to, it's almost a desire for a better version. It's almost a desire for the best for this other presence. It's like, I love you, I want the best for you, how can I help facilitate that? I love my nation, how can I help make this a stronger community? I love my woman, how do I help make her life better and help lift her up? It's a desire to instill and imbue the best for these other parties. It's also, there's a wanting to be in their presence, right? So like when you love something or someone, it's almost like a magnetic draw or a moth to the flame, where you're just kind of drawn into their field, where you just want to be next to them, right? Especially in the context of a lover. Also with friendship and family, like if you really love and care about these people, like you want to spend time with them. You just want to be around them. You want to hear what they have to say. You want their opinions. You want to just, sit in silence in the same room as them.
Definitely.
What do you think binds?
Well, I mean, what I come to at the core of love is let me see if I can put this into words. It's a clear presence with oneself, and from that presence of awareness, then there's this opening that happens. This is how I perceive love. That as I am in my own selfness, I can open completely that thread of love to whatever that other is. But I feel like love, we're so lost on it's out there. I think that we have it backwards as humans. I think love is a self-concept starting here with this presence of God or this otherworldly energy here. And then it's from there that we are able to open and then express it and connect to whatever it is, whether it's sitting in nature, whether it's another person, whether it's a concept, whether it's whatever. So that's kind of like the common thread that I see with love is it's kind of like this deeply intimate safety and openness and I don't know. Does that make sense?
That does make sense to me.
And then it's from that because there are a lot of times where I can be with the person that I love. I can be doing something, but if I'm not in this state, I can't really feel the love. I can think it, but I'm not really feeling that energy that's connecting to something else. It's more constricted and I'm hurt or I'm scared or I'm deflecting or I'm like, So love to me, the thread, the commonness is that it has to start in the inside awareness.
I think love in the context of two entities coming together also, it's really in its purest form when it's a two-way street. So I mentioned that when I love somebody or something, I want to see the better version of them. I want to help facilitate them to grow and to be happier and more open and more sure and more confident. But it works both ways. It's like I also love somebody because I can feel that they want that for me. I can feel that they're giving me positive, nurturing, caring energy in return. So loving nature, for example, is a pretty easy one because it's pretty obvious that the world is here to facilitate our well-being. It gives us air, gives us water, grows food for us. Really, it's an all-encompassing provider. Like, none of us would be anything without the world and the nature around us.
Yeah.
But in individual relationships also, it's like I want the best for this person and they really love me also and they want the best for me, and something happens in that dual flow of energy going back and forth where you're kind of feeding each other.
Yes.
That is cohesive, and it's a glue that binds two separate entities on this plane in an extent.
Yeah, or more. I agree. I think there is something that happens when there is a mutual opening to each other and a sharing. I think that it definitely creates it compounds it almost. Like there's a synergistic, it compounds that feeling and that energy, you know, and it is reciprocal, you know, and it can happen in a large group. Like I've sometimes felt it at a music concert where we're all like open and vibing to the same message and vibe, and there's just like this euphoric, you know, vibe that's happening, and I'm feeling love for everybody around me.
Yeah.
You know, I've experienced it in a large groups too.
Like a crescendo, even like a sports
Yeah.
game or something. There's
Yeah.
this unity that
There's
binds
a
people where
unity.
you all feel kind of like part of the same family, part of the same
Yeah.
tribe. You all care about the same thing in this moment. It is powerful. You can find that in like protests also. You know, people all come
Yes.
together in an act of defiance, and you're all on the same page about certain things,
Yeah.
and like it makes
It's
you
a
makes you
binding.
feel part of a larger whole than just yourself. It makes you feel like you fit,
Yeah.
like you have purpose, like you're part of something.
But what, you know, so you know, like, all right, so then how do you keep that love alive though? How do you, you know, because I strive for that feeling. I would love to stay in that feeling more, but I find myself constricting and shutting down a lot, especially when I don't feel safe, you know? So how do we have more of that? You know, how do we keep that love open and connected, you know?
It's a good question. I think the older I get, the more I realize I think love is two things. It's a choice, and then it's hard work.
Oh, absolutely.
I think you have to choose,
Yes.
like, you know what? I'm going to care about this. I'm going
Yes.
to invest emotion. I'm going to risk vulnerability. I'm going to put my energy, some of my energy into this other piece of my world. Whether that's your physical world once again, or relationships that you're choosing to nurture. And so you make that choice. And in my experience, there has to be some ground, some foundation for me to decide, okay, I want to love this person. I want this person in my friend circle. Okay, I want to take care of this plant and put water on it every couple weeks. All right, I want to go out and make this garden more beautiful. Like there has to be that choice first of all. Like I want this to be more beautiful, so I'm going to invest into it. With people, my main grounds is there has to be a little bit of a kind of commonality, whether it's like humor or just ability to have like deeper conversations. And the main key point that I look for in a foundation to establish love is trust.
Yes.
I need to be able to feel like I can take what the person's telling me authentically, because without that you can't really know the other person. If you can't know the other person, it's really hard to love something that not only do you not know but doesn't want to be known. And if somebody's practicing deception, it's like they don't want you to know who they are. So I've learned through decades that it's just a non-starter for me.
Yeah.
But once you have somebody or something that you want to love, I think it's just work. I think it's like, I'm going to choose to keep watering this plant. I'm going to choose to keep coming back and having these conversations when they get difficult. I'm going to choose to keep trying to grow and foster a more healthy, and it does come down to communication. Like the foundation is honesty, but off honesty, you have to really use words and action to demonstrate and understand one another.
And I think that an obstacle in that is a lot of times people are afraid of, you know, holding back, afraid to tell the truth, afraid to be transparent, afraid that they're going to get rejected or this or that or the other. And so that's like, to me, that's suicide for a relationship, you know, and that's where it takes that courage to say the thing that's in your heart, say the thing that feels hard to share about yourself or about what you're feeling or about what's working or not working. And in that, then I think is where the love, this for me anyway, I'll speak to myself, this is where I've learned how to really understand and embody love more and more. Because when I was hiding or isolating, even when I was in a relationship and not really being truthful because afraid of they were going to think I'm stupid or bad or they're going to laugh at me or leave me, then it was just like the love shuts down and it kind of amputates the love. You know, it can only operate in this parameter. But that courage to be fully seen and And then so what? Let the cards fall where they're gonna fucking fall.
And not just courage. You also, I've learned, it takes self-awareness. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people aren't deceptive because they're trying to be deceptive. A lot of people are deceptive because they just don't know. I just don't know how I feel. I don't know what I need. I don't know what I want. I don't know what works for me. And it took me a lot of years to figure that shit out. I'm still working on it. But
yeah, but don't you think that deception and that not knowing would maybe unravel more if you went to that person or whatever and said, hey, I don't know. This is what I'm feeling. I don't know about this. This is where my, block is, or, I mean, do you think that would be an impetus to move the love forward?
But just like speaking of the paranormal, people aren't comfortable not knowing, which is why people, I think, put the paranormal in a taboo. It's like, because it takes that recognition and that admission that I don't know.
Right.
I don't have everything put together. I'm not fucking a pyramid of absolute knowledge. You know? We're more like Jenga towers, missing most of our pieces.
That's funny. Well, I mean, and I wanted to speak about my relationship with Jim because this is my second marriage, and it's funny we're talking about this because Dana and I were getting coffee this morning, and I was talking to him about so Jim and I have been in a relationship for 33 years, and all of my models were that the longer you were in a relationship with someone, the more you didn't like each other, the more you hated, the less in love you were, the less you had in common. You just kind of like, well, I guess this is who I have, so I'll put up with it. But my experience has been the opposite, that I am more and more in love with my husband. He is my best friend. The more exciting our relationship is, the more adventure. I mean, it blows my mind. And when I go back and think about, people are like, oh, but you're just lucky you found someone. I'm like, let me tell you, luck had nothing to do with it. Because our first 10 years, we almost didn't survive. We almost got a divorce. It was really hard, and we had to really show up. And we made a commitment. No, we were just going to keep doing whatever it took. We took relationship courses. We went to counseling. I mean, we did whatever. We just kept working on it. But what's interesting is I remember is that the right ingredients were there. Like you already said that. Like you got to have some commonalities, and we didn't have trust. And I wasn't always honest. I was actually lying a lot back then because I was too afraid to ask for what I wanted. So I liked to go out and party, and I'd be like, I'm going to the neighbor's party. And he's like, where are you going to be back in an hour? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. And I knew there was no way I was going to be back in an hour. I just lied to him, And then 3 hours later, Joe would call, like, when are you coming home? I'm like, I don't know, maybe 30 more minutes. And then I'd be like another 2 hours. And so we had to go work that stuff out in counseling, right? And, but what was interesting is that the more that we learned how to be honest and just say what we were feeling and who we were, right? Having that courage to be like, sometimes like, I don't know if I love you. I mean, I think I love you, but these problems, I'm having a problem with. I'm not sure I can be loyal or do what you want, or, like whatever the issue is, like having the courage. Because once we started telling each other the truth, mm-hmm. It's weird. It was like magic. It was like suddenly we felt closer because we weren't hoarding this lie, like, or not even a lie, but this thing of like, I don't know if this is going to work, or I don't know if I'm 100% into you, or, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We would tell the truth about that, and then suddenly we would be, it would be the thing that was keeping us from feeling more love for each other. Which was it's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But also by the definition that we're establishing, if love is really just honesty and a true understanding of one another through honest communication, then it makes sense because now you can see each other through a clearer lens.
Right.
Now you have a better understanding of who the person sitting across from you is, and now you're able to like really relate to the core of who that person is at a deeper level. So it goes deeper.
Yeah, and we could also then help each other figure out, like, well, why are you feeling this? And there was usually a wounding underneath.
Yeah.
There was usually a fear of something that had happened to me in the past that I was like, I don't want to repeat this, so I'm just going to do this. and keep this hidden and say I'll do things I'm not going to do because then I'm safe.
Yeah.
I'm safe from what? Feeling more love. I don't know. It's interesting. It's really interesting. But that was, and we just kept doing that. And every time we're honest about who we are and how we're really feeling, it only gets better.
Yeah.
It only gets better.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us, we're not really taught. It's not something that we really learn any other way than through trial and error. And we all go through, in my experience, a plethora of relationships with different people, and you glean a little bit here and you glean a little bit there, and you realize what doesn't work, and then you kind of find, people closer and closer to what it is that you have in common and what your core values are. In my case, like honesty and open-mindedness, right? You find somebody that meets the general mold, and then it just takes work.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people also confuse, myself included as a young man, like the idea of like love is lust. Like love is just this chemical attraction, but love is like wanting the person. And that is a component, especially in relationships in your youth. And I think that I, for one, am ready to outgrow that and look for something more sincere, more profound. And it's an ongoing questioning. It's an ongoing investigation into myself. I have to keep asking this question, what is love? Also, it's like, we're all looking for love, right? Everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm looking for love, I'm looking for happiness. But then the question is, okay, well, what is love? Because if you don't know what the love is that you're actually looking for, how are we going to find it? How are we going to find something that we can't actually at least have somewhat of a grasp and be able to visualize? If you can't see where you're going, you're not going to get there. You have to have an idea of where it is that you're trying to get.
Yeah, I mean, because is love being a committed, married relationship? Is love having a family? Is love being someone that you just see on the weekends? I mean, yeah, you got to define like what is that form that you're wanting to create?
Yeah, what do you love?
Right. And I believe it always has to start with yourself.
It definitely helps.
Because if you don't love yourself, if you don't even like yourself, but yet you're out here like, oh, well, I want this person to make me feel good about myself, or that person, or that, I don't know. My experience has been it's a pretty lonely, miserable path.
Also, when you don't love yourself, you're kind of, in that case, ashamed of yourself, and you're a lot less likely to be actually honest about who you are. Because why would I want to share about somebody that I don't like, share who I am that I don't like about somebody in an authentic way?
Yeah.
You do have to, it is a big piece of the puzzle.
Because there is a difference between, I want to fuck somebody and I want to love somebody.
I think so.
Excuse my language,
I
people,
think so.
but,
Yeah, it's English.
It's,
We use
I'm
the
wanting to
language we
have
were given.
a physical relationship with somebody, and I'm wanting to love somebody and have more than just that expression.
Yeah.
Yeah,
being a young man, I remember, we all feel lonely, we all feel isolated, I think. Everybody I've talked to deeply about this. Everybody feels, we're all an island consciousness, just on our own, ultimately doing our own thing, and we're all looking for connection. And in my youth, I had a lot of one-night stands and was with a lot of people superficially. And I eventually realized it was like every time I had one of those nights, like I felt emptier afterwards. Like I felt like I actually was less connected to people than I was because I was missing the point. The point is that it's more than just the physical act. It's like it's the actual coming together, being vulnerable, and understanding one another on a more profound level. And I'm still shooting in the dark here. I still don't really know what it is, but I am starting to put a picture together. I am starting to put an idea together of what it is that I'm working towards here.
Well, and I just wanted to say one more thing, because we were talking about this earlier too, is this whole thing that sometimes keeps us from really putting some roots down and experimenting with a deeper love with maybe one person, is this, what can be this concept of like, oh, well, what if I miss out on something, or the grass is greener over there, or I'm not sure, And it's interesting because I used to have this, and some of the things, the beautiful thing about having a human life is that you get to practice love and all these things over and over and over. So you do learn and you do know more about it. But early on when I was in a relationship, you know, with my, at the beginning with Jim, you know, part of what was keeping me from really also rooting down with him and investing in it, that first 10 years was like, I think they're like, well, what if I miss something else? You know, what if that feeling like that grass is greener over there, or I could have something like that, or I could be with somebody like that, or I could be, you know, and then I finally grew up through, you know, I was doing counseling and, you know, and I had that epiphany like, oh my gosh, you know, like that's still grass.
I know.
I mean, it may be a little taller. I don't know. It may, but it's grass. And so wherever you go, there you are. So I don't really believe there's something better. I think that maybe there's different flavors. It's different maybe a little bit here and there. But you know what? When it all boils down and you get into a relationship with it, it's grass.
When it all boils down, you just have a different lawn to mow.
Exactly. Exactly. So it was like, that really helped me heal that piece. I stopped looking and I'm like, oh yeah, I've spent so much time growing this grass, fertilizing it. I know how to mow it well. Mm-hmm. I don't want to start over. I don't want to replant a whole new yard. You know, it's like, and then that history, that beautiful history of year after year after year of like just beautifully growing that. It's like, I'm so glad I didn't divorce Jim. I'm so glad we stuck it out. I mean, he's the love of my life. I'm so happy. And it was a lot of hard work and it was a choice. And I believe everyone can have this.
I appreciate having you guys as a role model in my life. It's been nice.
Thanks,
it's been nice
sweetie.
getting to watch you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good journey and it's never over. I mean, we're not like perfect. It's like we don't ever have issues, but it's not that super steep climb like it used to be in the beginning of our relationship. But
well, I love maybe.
Oh my gosh, I'm being serious now. When I'm in that feeling, it's the best.
It's pretty good.
That feeling of love is just, I would take it over money. I would take it over vacation. I would take that over anything.
No, I love you guys.
Yeah, we really love you coming along with us and hope you're getting something out of this. If nothing else, a good laugh.
Exactly.
If nothing else, be like, oh my God, I love my life. I'm glad I'm not them.
Yep.
Crazy alien lady.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to have another chat with you.
I know, it's good.
You feel good? Anything else you want to piece in here?
I think I'm good.
I think we call it here then.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, just another 2 weeks. We'll see you. Be well, and just all my love.
Become an expert in you.
Yep.
See you down the road.
Yep. Bye.